The topic that I chose to write about was the overfishing in the coral reefs of the Philippines. My thesis statement was, in the Philippines, the coral reefs in the archipelago are being compromised and deteriorating due to the overfishing of the organisms and the deadly chemicals being added to the coral reefs. This means that the beautiful coral reefs in the Philippines are not being taken care of how they should, and it is making it so fish live there are much less diverse, and the coral reef that has been growing for decades is being destroyed. The economy in the Philippines. The economy is not the best in the Philippines, or at least wasn't before the overfishing of exotic fish began. The economy mostly consists of factories, fishing, foresting, and farming. They cut down the most valuable trees and plants so they can be sold around the country and the world. They farm the land so they can grow crops and other kinds of things to sell around the country and the world. They also have quite a few factories that do not have regulations on the pollution or chemicals being released from the plants, but mostly they overfish. Overfishing in the Philippines does a lot. The Philippines does a lot of fishing in general, but because they have high quality aquatic life that produces a large variety of fish and other organisms, such as clams. There is one main reason that they fish, but two because they sell them. In the coral reefs of the Philippines, there are so many different kinds of exotic fish found in that area of the world. There are two reasons exotic fish are sold. They are either for restaurants wanting to serve exotic fish on their menu or for exotic fish pets. How do they get the fish? They often use explosives to blow up the coral reefs that either kill or stun the fish, and they can just scoop them up and take them to the market, but they began using poisons in the more recent years, and the most common is cyanide. They use the cyanide by putting it in the water where the exotic fish and coral reefs are. This then stuns the fish for a moment, but the coral reef is completely destroyed because of this poison that is being put on them. The cyanide just completely kills it and never allows it to grow again. How else are the coral reefs being ruined? The farming factories and foresting are also causing a big impact on the coral reefs. The plants being farmed are often sprayed with pesticides and other chemicals to keep the bugs off of them, but those chemicals are being released into the soil. With foresting, they are cutting down trees and plants that are alongside the shorelines, which make the shorelines less likely to withstand tide, and the chemicals from the farming end up being in the water along with the chemicals being dumped from the factories. The factories have quite a bit of chemicals that are coming out of it, and they are not being regulated very tightly, but they begin to pollute the soil and water, which again leads to the death of coral. The factories are putting pollution into the air also, which is causing the fish and other organisms to die and make it so the coral is just disappearing. In conclusion, there is no laws regulating of the overfishing and the destruction of coral reefs in the Philippines. This means that anyone can fish at any time and take anything they like. The faster the overfishing happens, the faster the destruction of the coral reefs. There is also very little regulation on factories and chemicals being put into the ocean and into the reefs. How do we prevent this? There could be stricter rules on when people can fish and how much they can fish. There should be areas that are nice and replenished that can be used for fishing, and the coral reefs that are in bad condition can be preserved and rebuilt to make it so the coral doesn't die away. There can also be stricter regulations on factories, farming, and the deforestation of many, many trees and plants.